It's always interesting to me, every single time a new MCU movie comes out, that we see the same type of early reactions from the same nameless, faceless accounts on social media. And more often than not, these reactions seem to be specifically designed to build hype around movies that otherwise people don't really seem to care too much about. It's almost as if either Marvel Studios has bots on standby, or they just handpick a certain select group of individuals that they know will give them the positive reactions they are looking for. And when I read you these early reactions, you will see that they are the same type of reaction that we hear for Marvel movies all the time, with the same overused buzzwords and the same lame comparisons to beloved movies of the past. Comparisons that we know there is almost no chance in hell of this movie ever living up to. Let's discuss.
I watch so you don't have to.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
Before I get into some of these reactions, I want to go out on a limb here and make a bold prediction. Actually, it's not that bold. But I'm thinking a majority of these reactions will either feature the individual desperately trying to convince everyone that Sam Wilson is worthy of being the new Captain America, and or they will try to sell us on the idea that this movie is Winter Soldier levels of good. You see, Winter Soldier has become Marvel's Dark Knight, in that anytime a new movie comes out, they try to convince people that it's just as good as the MCU's gold standard. But we know better, don't we? So let's get into some of these reactions and see if we can figure out just how legitimate they are.
Absolutely fucking not.
The first one comes from The Hollywood Handle, which says, Captain America Brave New World brings Sam Wilson as our true Captain America in a film with great action. Though sometimes it has slow pacing and lacks depth, some great new additions to the MCU, and I'm excited to see what's next for the universe. Now, I don't know about anybody else, but this sounds like the most "this movie is bad, but I don't really want to call it bad" reaction that I've ever heard. This movie supposedly cements Sam Wilson as the true Captain America, according to this person, basically shoving Steve Rogers to the side in an effort to build up this less interesting version of the character. Stop me if you've heard this before. This reaction points out how this movie lacks depth and then insinuates it's setting up big things for the future of the MCU. You mean like most of the MCU movies from our recent memory? It'll probably give you plenty of references, Easter eggs, and teases just to distract you from the fact that the story sucks and there is absolutely no emotional core. So, nice to hear not much has changed, I guess.
The more things change, the more they stay the same.
Then we have Wong Updates, who says, Captain America Brave New World is a cinematic gem. It's an intense, thrilling ride from start to finish. It's a mix of Winter Soldier and The Dark Knight. Oh my god, he actually found a way to incorporate both of these films. This is new levels of desperation. The film keeps you edging for more until it culminates in the best final act in recent years. Old Marvel is back on the menu. Expect to see a lot of MCU is back reactions from these people about this movie. The same people who claim that it never dipped in quality in the first place. Kinda shows you just how much they believe in the bullshit that they usually say. Also, when you say it's the best final act in years, I can only assume you are talking about just Marvel movies and not films in general. If you meant films in general, then I strongly suggest that you watch more movies. This is one of those reactions that feels almost too positive, to the point that it feels like the person is forcing the issue. I find it very hard to believe that a movie that has had as many reshoots as this one is anywhere near the level of Winter Soldier or The Dark Knight. This reaction comes off as very try-hard to me, and I'm sorry, I'm just not buying it. And then we have Kevin Phoenix, who says, quote, Captain America Brave New World tackles the obvious issues the usual crybabies are crying about with the appropriate amount of attention and respect, which is to say little. They'll cry, spout words, and acronyms they don't understand, and the rest of the world will have a good time.
What an idiot! Oh, what a loser!
It's a telltale sign that things are not good when the reactor spends more time talking about his insecurities when it comes to what other people are saying about this movie than he does talking about what he actually liked about it. According to Little Kev here, everyone is going to have a good time with this movie, but he does nothing to articulate why he believes that. It's almost as if he doesn't have much relevant to say at all, and he's basically just using his reaction to stick it to the toxic fans and incels that don't agree with him. Also, if Kevin is suggesting that Marvel ignored a lot of the criticisms that people have been giving the MCU in recent years, that's not good either. Then we have Harrison Martin, who said, quote, "Captain America Brave New World is a big win for Marvel Studios. Sam Wilson is undeniably Captain America. He embodies everything needed to lead the Avengers. The action is great, the story is very close to the vibes of Winter Soldier. Watch on the biggest screen possible."
No, I don't think I will.
Now, I don't know about anybody else, but based on what I've seen personally so far, you could probably get away with watching this movie on your phone while you're doing something else. I mean, if it's anything like more recent Marvel movies, that's exactly the type of audience that these things are made for. I said it in my early trailer reaction that they would try to sell this movie as the next Winter Soldier, and it appears that some people are falling for that hook, line, and sinker. Marvel, from now on, is simply going to try to recapture the magic of past success, with no intention of pushing this franchise into new directions. And that's why they go back to the well and get people like Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, and even Hugh Jackman. Because put quite simply, Sam Wilson does not have the star power to lead the Avengers moving forward. If he did, then Marvel Studios wouldn't need to reach into the past to pull out some established names.
It's true.
Now, it might fool some of you, but it's not fooling me. It's very easy to see if you are able to take off the fan goggles and see things for what they are. Now, this movie could very well end up being halfway decent, or even entertaining on a surface level. And either way, good or bad, of course, I'll let you know when I put out my review later this week. But the desperation in some of these reactions is noticeably embarrassing. And they very much feel like the ramblings of individuals who desperately want Marvel to succeed, because these movies continuing is their only source of relevance. The problem is that some people have made liking Marvel movies their entire identity. And that is precisely why Marvel Studios got lazy and the quality of the product dipped, because they knew that no matter what they put out, people like this were going to show up and they were going to praise it. But the rest of us are all too familiar with Marvel's tactics at this point. And it's going to take a lot more than the word of some randos on the internet to convince us all that Marvel is back.
Y'all be cool. Shut up.